welcome back to Pokemon Platinum. You noticed we actually, beat the game last time, but we have a little bit more to do, mostly some last-second catches. You will not be going to the post-game island because that's just a lot of filler, basically. It's extra stuff to do. This is the last game to really have, like, a full-feeling post-game in a lot of regards.
With,
additional story material after the champion battle, you mean?
Black and White,
Kinda.
I think, had okay story stuff. Black and White, one of the things I actually do think 2 did better than 1 for Gen 5 is the tournament thing for Gen 5 Part 2 is actually really, really cool. So
not to say the other Black and White and 1 and 2 didn't have post-game. It didn't feel quite as in-depth as what you could do in this game, or Gen 3 with the Battle Frontier.
It's like from that point onward, when it came to the post-game, they focused...
They just started cutting more and more and more, and it got kind of annoying.
They focused on pure metagamey MMO farming bullshit.
Yeah, basically. Because you had some routes, and you had some of the genie stuff in Gen 5, but it wasn't that significant. Gen 6 basically has no post-game to begin with.
Oh yeah, pretty much.
Unless you really want to hunt down all those Zygarde things, which don't matter at all.
They just didn't do anything with that, which was so weird.
Yeah, and then Sun and Moon has a few routes going to the battle tree, and that's nothing.
I mean, it's kind of weird how Gen 1 didn't really have much after the game except for the one final dungeon with Mewtwo in it. But then
again, first installment.
Yeah, I know. And then Gen 2 comes along, and it's like you think you've won by beating the Elite Four, and then it's like, wow, we get to go through the whole original game's region, and there's this whole really meaty experience after that supposed end of the game.
Yeah, and Gen 3, while it doesn't have a new region, it has the whole Battle Frontier stuff, which is pretty in-depth.
Mm-hmm.
Gen 4 has the whole separate island thing, which is okay. It's not great, but there's a decent amount to do there. And characters come around and there's cutscenes and stuff.
Yeah.
So, I love how you missed 3 Pokemon in your Pokedex. So, nope, you're not allowed to bring your old Pokemon up. Nope, go find them.
But
you find them if you don't have them in your Pokedex. Sucks to be you. Go fight every trainer you missed. Have fun, douchebag.
You know what is cool though? The when they remade Gen 1 and they added cut content in.
Oh yeah, that was the Sevi Islands are great. I think is one of the best post games. Don't get me wrong, the Battle Frontier is nice. It's fine, but I've never really cared for the just doing battles over and over again to do more battles kind of stuff. I prefer.
No, that's fair, but at least I'm willing to give it credit where it's due. It is very in depth.
The Sevi Islands, I think, are the best post game.
It feels they feel a bit like a small expansion pack to the game rather than just a bit of extra stuff to do, like going to Knothole Island in Fable 2 or that kind of thing.
It was also just really cool fan service as well because they bring back all this Johto music. You can finally find some Johto Pokemon. There's cool story connections with Ruby and Sapphire and Gold, Silver, Crystal where they imply some stuff with the 3-year time skip and whatnot. It's there's this mini Team Rocket side plot going on. There's a couple of other things too. There's just a lot of really cool stuff going on with the Sevi Islands. I love them. So they're honestly one of my favorite things in any Pokemon game. So I wish that they did more for that in the other remakes. Heart Gold and Soul Silver are still great remakes. They added 2 routes in the Safari Zone.
Yeah, they also added a smidge with Giovanni and Silver.
Yeah,
but that was all event. Yeah, it's all event stuff that you couldn't see.
To be fair to that, you can get Celebi easily enough without doing event stuff because it's easier to trade for that kind of stuff now. But if you didn't have Celebi, and if you're playing the game later on after trading isn't available anymore.
Yeah, because the GTS is down, so you need somebody who has Celebi is still in their Gen 4 cart.
Yeah, or you need to action replay the bitch. But
which is the more likely option.
Yeah, and then Gen 3's remakes came around, and then Oh wait, can I talk to you about parallel dimensions?
Oh god, I remember people were mad about Gen 3 because they actually removed a lot of content from that game.
Yeah,
Like the
They
Battle
did.
Frontier isn't nearly as grand as it
to
used
be
to
fair, you could also level that that accusation at the Gen 2 remake because nothing from the Crystal version made it into the remake, did it?
Oh no, most of the Crystal stuff did.
Did it?
The
Ace Wing and Suicune stuff is in there.
Oh,
yeah.
Huh.
Yeah. Gen 2 also changed a lot of the dungeons as well. Like, well,
Which
actually,
is good because the dungeons are really boring in Gen 2.
Yeah, I'll vouch for that.
well, the one that I actually, no, actually, that's wrong. The only one that I think that got changed majorly was Mount Silver. It was made a lot longer. Which is fine, I suppose. Like, I'm not super attached to the design for Mount Silver in Gen 2, so changing it isn't blasphemy.
You know what I was thinking about when I said the stuff from Crystal had been taken out? I was just thinking about like how much more I like the character design of the Crystal version female player versus the.
Yeah, Crystal is much better than.
Yeah, the
whatever her name
whatever
is.
that diabolical abomination they designed for the female protagonist in the remake. I don't.
Oh yeah, I agree there too. Like Lyra is just, it's like somebody half-assed their Crystal cosplay, and
It's like,
just didn't
okay,
feel
if they had like
finishing it.
updated the Crystal character design to make it more interesting overall, like they did with Leaf in Leaf Green and Fire Red, then I'd be fine with that. But
Yeah, it's because I really like the redesign they did for Red in Fire Red, Leaf Green, and Leaf is a great design, I think personally. But yeah, I just, for some reason, in Ethan too. Like, I mean, I know it's a much more minor redesign, but the gold design from Gold, Silver, and Crystal is just way cooler to me. Because like gold in all of the old Gen 2 art looks like a smug little punk.
Yeah, well, yeah, he's a smart-ass brat in Gen 2. That's effectively what he is.
He looks like the '90s, except effortless rather than try hard. Like he belongs in the '90s rather than
yeah, that's effectively what he is. Whereas Ethan is just kind of like
he's just your standard male trainer design, but he has like gold's color scheme.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. Well, you can't win all your battles, can you?
No.
So,
and then for some reason they changed Green's design to her manga design for Let's Go.
I thought that it was
weird.
a neat little bit of fan service because that game was playing with being an alternate take on stuff.
Yeah.
Like,
no, it's fair, but it's rare that they acknowledge that the manga exists.
Yeah.
I mean, technically, I know it's like based on that initial sketch.
Yeah.
For Red and Green, but that's effectively the manga design for her.
Yeah, I know. Like, I mean, it's just cool to see it like in a real game. Is part of the thing, and I mean, Let's Go did do a lot of cool things. Like they brought Archer from Heart Gold, Soul Silver, and like have him have like a little character moment and character arc throughout Let's Go, and he's like a recurring mini boss in some stages and stuff. And he effectively works as like whatever. I don't know what's the name that they give that game's rival. I don't remember, but it gave
the not carry.
Yeah, the not. But it effectively gave him an antagonist, whereas yours was Giovanni effectively, which I thought was cool. Like, I don't know if they'll do another Let's Go game, but if they do, I'd like them to do more with the retelling the original stories kind of idea.
I don't see them doing, because I mean, Pokemon games always do well, but I don't think from what I could tell, it didn't do enough to make people who just play Go on their phones to actually buy a Switch and pick up those games, because that's basically what I told them to do, because the majority of people who play Go and only Go only do so because it's free on their phones.
Yeah, no,
they're
like
not going to go out and spend money on a system just to play a slightly more in-depth version of Go on the Switch.
Yeah, and I always thought that was the case. Like, I didn't think that Let's Go was going to convert many phone players to console Pokemon.
It seems like it was a game that they just made to do something cheap and easy with their engine while they were still developing the next gen. So
okay, well, it did break 10 million copies, so that's still not shabby.
Yeah.
Like
no, like I said, I'm not playing the games did poorly. Just look at what's the sales figures for like Sun and Moon.
I just don't expect much out of that as a side franchise. Is all.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hold on, I have to look it up. So, I think it's probably more, but 3DS has a larger install base. And
when is Sword and Shield
I know. I'm just November.
November.
By the time this goes up, they'll be out.
November.
But just for curiosity, out of reference, Ted, what's some of those numbers?
16 million copies.
Gotcha.
I don't know if it. Wait, hold on. And Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon did 7.1 million. So
effectively 23.
Yeah. I mean, granted, they had 2 versions, but still.
Yeah.
Like, Sun and Moon did better than Let's Go. I think is not controversial to say. I hope not. Anyway.
No.
Yeah. Or at least they're comparable enough to imagine that. I don't feel like it would make that big of a shift in their plans, effectively.
Yeah.
You know. I mean,
if they did like 20 million in a year, I think they might consider doing more because wow, that did really well with like no effort.
Yeah, you know, we were talking about Pokemon needing to go in a new direction at the end of the last part. I feel like making more games that are smaller and more like the old Pokemon games at the same time would be a good way to like not make Pokemon diehards freak out, because that would be a way to say, oh, don't worry, these old games aren't going away, we're just also doing new games as well, you know, because I feel like that's part of what Link's Awakening was supposed to do with Zelda, where, you know, there were some people who were like, this isn't like old Zelda enough, and Link's Awakening was there to say, don't worry, we haven't forgotten old Zelda, we're just also making new Zelda.
Like, my fear with that is I hope they don't abandon completely the way 3D Zelda worked either.
I agree there. I think that they should make smaller, like I'm saying smaller scale as if the 3D Zeldas are small scale games, but I feel like they should definitely make Ocarina of Time design philosophies 3D Zeldas in the future, you know, in between.
Yeah, they don't have to be like super often, but you know, throw fans of that kind of style a bone every now and again.
Yeah, and I hope they're not just limiting themselves to remakes too. Like, I would like new games in that style as well. You know.
I mean, they technically already remade, to an extent, Wind Waker and Twilight Princess, and those N64 games on the 3DS.
So that just means we get to do the best one.
No.
Oh.
I don't know how you would remake Skyward Sword, because that game relies so much on its motion controls.
Well, I mean, the Joy-Con is about as sensitive as the Motion Plus.
Sort of, but you would have to find a way to make
pointing,
it not even the pointing, just if you're playing it on the go.
Oh yeah, that's true.
You can't have people swinging around the Joy-Cons on a bus or something.
And I'm sure they don't want to make it not accessible for the Switch Lite when they just released that. So, God. I mean, I guess they might be able to find a way to have it, like, where you just move the whole, like, both like around. Maybe. That feels like it'd be awkward, though.
Yeah.
I mean, with the Switch Lite, you don't even have the option to detach the Joy-Cons and play the game on your tiny little screen. But...
And God forbid you have Joy-Con drift.
Oh, God. I really hope that they fix that at some point. Because I don't like having to spend $80 every 16 months because my Joy-Cons stop working. It's not fun. Just gonna casually throw that out there.
I feel like extremely vindicated now as a console mode only player of the Switch.
Well, I mean, I use my Pro Controller all the time, but even my left Joy-Con is starting to have some sensitivity problems with this joystick.
Yeah.
So I'll probably have to send them in at some point.
I mean, that's I hope to God that they're
mind you to put it in perspective, mine's a launch Switch and Joy-Con, so mine lasted a good long while comparatively.
Yeah, that makes sense. But yeah, like, so the problem that, as far as I understand it, is that there's like a sensor underneath the control stick that senses like how far it's moved, and there's like debris or dust or something that will like cover up the sensor.
Yeah, and by moving it around a whole lot, you kind of strain the sensor a bit.
Yeah, so it's like it'll sense that movement's happening when it's not there.
Boy.
But I really hope that with the Switch Lite, they change whatever the heck they're doing there so that that doesn't happen. Because unlike the Joy-Con, you break the warranty, but theoretically you can go under there and clean it or just replace the joystick altogether. It's like $10 to get a replacement on Amazon or whatever. But I'd feel a lot less secure about opening up my entire system like that. So
I've opened up a few controllers in my time. It's surprisingly easy to fix things.
Yeah, well, like it's easier on more old school controller because it's just you just kind of unscrew the parts, pop it open, and then you dust it.
Yeah, I don't think they even have those weird triangle screws that like all the toys and stuff used to have back in the day.
Whereas something like the more wireless controllers, there's a lot more stuff in them.
Well,
actually, wait, hold on. Do like GameCube controllers have the weird? Oh, they do have the triangle screws. Damn it, Nintendo.
Here's the thing. You can get pretty cheap like electronic screwdriver kits off Amazon that have like interchangeable screwdriver bits that in like every conceivable shape. I've got one, and I only needed to use like 2 to open up my PlayStation controllers. So.
Oh no, I'm fortunate. My dad still has like all of his tools from when he was like a college student in the '70s, and he just has all those around.
Yeah, it's not hard to find the tools, and if you've got as many video game consoles as we do, Doctor Who.
So
it's a time-rich Pokemon.
Okay, so for a moment I thought you were going to name it Dr. Agon.
You see,
because it's a dragon. Here's the thing: that's actually a Dragon Quest pun. There's literally a character named Dr. Agon who is a dragon in Dragon Quest.
The thing is, his name is not Doctor Who, but the marketing will always call him Doctor Who. And like in recent seasons, they made fun of this by having the Master impersonate the Doctor for certain episodes, and having her, this was her female form, and having her actually like call herself Doctor Who, like very flagrantly.
Was that used as a tip-off or something?
No, it was just the mistress messing around. She was impersonating the Doctor for some reason, I forget why, and just to have fun with it, she always introduced herself as Doctor Who. And she did so in this really flamboyant way.
Has the new Doctor Who been good? Because I have a couple of Doctor Who fans as friends, and they are not. I get really conflicting stuff.
Mixed bag to the nth for the last several Doctors, to be honest. It's just
that's kind of what I've heard.
Just depending on which Doctor and which showrunner, it's a different mixed bag. Like the current Doctor, the 13th Doctor, has some good stuff going on, especially since you're not dealing with the same weaknesses Moffat had, but at the same time, a bit too much preachiness going on. What the hell?
Yeah, we're not getting Palkia.
Yeah, because you just walk in and out, and then the
other one spawns.
Okay.
What determines which one you fight first?
It doesn't really matter.
I know it doesn't matter, but
it's probably just 50-50.
Okay, I mean, yeah, that's true.
Okay, definitely gonna say I like the design of the other one better.
Yeah, Dialga's a little bit better, I feel. It's also just a better typing, I feel.
Yeah, this one's Water Dragon, I think, and the other one's Steel Dragon.
Mm-hmm.
So
Water Dragon.
I mean, nothing about Palkia makes me understand why
it's a water dragon.
It's a water type. Like water has nothing to do with space time. Like I feel like Psychic Dragon would have been better, but then again, that's also
we did that with Latias and Latias last gen.
Water Dragon and
like
Metal
the
Dragon.
Psychic.
Yeah, are we like referencing like Chinese dragon stuff here?
It might be. I don't know.
Because I swear I remember this Yu-Gi-Oh episode that was well, not an episode, a manga in the season 0 segment where they're playing this cursed card game about Chinese dragons, and there's a water dragon and a metal dragon and a fire dragon and an earth dragon and all that stuff, and it's all about like elemental dragons. And I don't remember much of it because it was kind of a crappy issue, but yeah.
I don't really remember much of the inspiration behind the Gen 4 lore. Like, I know that there are certain inspirations behind other stuff. Like, I know that, like, the Reggie stuff is based on certain, like, golem myths from, I think, like the Middle East and Jewish things, if I
Yeah.
remember correctly.
Well,
yeah.
the golem in general is just a Jewish thing.
Oh, okay.
Didn't know that.
I didn't know that it was specifically Jewish.
I
Okay.
mean,
Well, the idea was that a guy was building up a stone warrior to defend the Jewish people, and by writing inscriptions and putting it in its mouth, it would come to life and carry out those orders.
Oh, that's cool.
Is this like
It's arguably the first depiction of what would become robots.
Yeah, that's like ancient robots. That's
Golem of
awesome.
Prague, yeah.
Prague. That's how it's pronounced, isn't it? I've only ever seen it written, so I've never heard it spoken. That's I completely forgot about that.
Stuff from those time periods are really weird. Like Leonardo, like they found like old sketches from Leonardo da Vinci about like actual robots that he never actually built because Middle Ages, they just don't have the technology yet. So they built his sketches and they worked.
Yeah, Leonardo da Vinci is like, some of the stuff he wrote is like mind-boggling how like accurate like a lot of it is.
He was a time traveler. I'm calling it now.
I mean, considering that he was like what, like the 1500s, 1600s, and he's just got a bunch of old books. It's just like, how much smarter is he than I am when I can't figure out that kind of stuff and I have way more access to resources than him? Like, imagine if Leonardo da Vinci had the internet.
To be fair, having such convenient access to all these resources does take a lot of the effort out of learning for a lot of issues, and as a result, we don't try as hard, so we don't think outside the box as much.
Yeah, that's true, but it's also...
Oh my god, I caught it on a great ball.
Wow.
And oh dang, I wish it was diagonal now because that matches his color scheme better.
I do like that the different Pokeballs have different designs in-game now. I mean, they always have had different designs, but it's always just been an art thing.
Sort of. Gen 2 gave them different colors.
At least when you
noticed.
caught the Pokemon, I think that they stopped. It didn't really show up when you like threw the Pokeball or anything.
Yeah.
Whereas, at least with Gen, you couldn't think.
Yeah. Yeah, that's Pokemon Gen 4, everyone. We'll be seeing you on our next Pokemon game, which at this point will be either if Ted gets to Gen 5 or if we decide to do Gen 8.
I need to fix my stupid Capture 3DS because it's broken. And
I guess I'll be doing Gen 5 then at some point.
Oh god, I'm really annoyed because the person who made our Capture 3DSs doesn't do
make
them anymore. And the new ones are bad.
We'll ask. Well, like we can always ask Emil to lend you one. He has like 20.
What?
He got a lot of backups because he knew the guy was going out.